Hey guys, welcome to the Reparenting Daily podcast, your daily guide for inner child healing. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine and is divided into 3 sections. The first is a daily reading, the second is a discussion of the reading followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is a peaceful meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us today. I'm so glad that you're here as we continue on this journey of self-expansion and growth. If this is your first time, welcome. Before we dive in, a few quick reminders. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Your support here helps us spread the word, allowing us to continue to grow this community. Next, I'd like to introduce our Patreon group, where we have 3 weekly meetings. On Sunday, we have a meditation meeting. On Tuesdays, we have a book club meeting. And on Thursdays, we have open topic discussions. These meetings take place at 6 p.m. Eastern European time, so this is Paris, Amsterdam time. I'm also thrilled to introduce the Reparenting Daily Journal, which you can find on Amazon. This journal follows the exact theme of the podcast, so each week and each monthly theme and sub-theme, it provides you space to keep your notes and plenty of extra resources for each topic we discuss. It's a really great tool, and if you purchase it, you can join our 3 weekly meetings for free. Just send me an email and we'll get you linked into that. Next, I'd like to announce another creative project I've had, which is a 3-volume series entitled Fairy Tales for Reparenting. Now, you might think, yeah, we're a bit old, fairy tales are a bit fluffy, so why fairy tales exactly? In my own personal work and research and reading into the work of Carl Jung and Marie-Louise von Franz, and just a lot of other types of reading and spiritual readings that I've done, has kind of led me to this journal to rediscover the magic of fairy tales. So I've created this 3-volume series that progresses along the hero's journey from beginning to middle to end. All of the fairy tales there correspond to that point of your journey. At the end of each story, you will have journal reflections and also space to keep your notes for things that you've learned. While returning to fairy tales might seem childish, foolish, or immature, there's actually a lot of value buried there, not to mention the ability to connect with your inner child. These books are filled with fairy tales that you might know, and also some from around the world that might be new for you. So you can look forward to something exciting and a new way to connect with your inner child and to work on your inner child healing if you like. All of these books are available on Amazon, so go ahead and take a look to support this project. Your help here really means a lot. Reparenting is a journey of growth, iterative change, and continuous improvement. Much like nurturing the bonsai tree, it requires patience, care, consistency, and attention. Thanks for being here and for supporting this work, and also for committing on your journey of self-expansion. Now, without further ado, let's dive into today's practice. Today, we're listening to an interview with Gabor Maté on Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett. Just as a reminder, we're in June, and the theme for this month is Cultivating Self-Worth and Self-Love. We're in week 4, June 22nd until the 30th, and the theme for this week is Cultivating Your Uniqueness. Today, they're going to be talking about not feeling good enough, how to stop feeling not good enough, and how to cultivate the opposite, how to work with yourself and cultivate your uniqueness. So without further ado, please enjoy this talk by Gabor Maté.
It's interesting in your work, throughout your work, you use alliteration a lot as a way to kind of summarize and make ideas really memorable. It really helps.
It's an old trick.
It's a trick. It's a writing trick, right?
Well, it also works, you know. Yeah. I'm denigrating my work if I say it's a trick. No, it's just the way things occur to me. That's all it is. One of
the alliteration devices you use is also relates to limiting beliefs and how we can undo self-limiting beliefs with the 5 R's.
Yeah.
Relabel, reattribute, refocus, revalue, and recreate.
Yeah.
Now, from what I understood of those, relabeling is the story and the belief that is limiting to us. Redefining it.
Take something like your workaholism.
Yeah.
I need to go to work. I need to do this work. Yeah. Relabeling as, I don't need to do this work. I just have a belief that I need to do this work.
Okay.
So that relabeling just takes a degree of separation from the behavior. And actually, it's true. It's not that you need to do all this work. You have this belief. So relabeling just says it for what it is. By the way, I have to acknowledge that these 5 R's, only one of them is mine. I stole the other 4 from a psychiatrist.
That's fine. That's art.
I mentioned that in the book, but I find it a very helpful technique, but it was developed for people with obsessive compulsive tendencies. So the relabel is not that I have to wash my hand 100 times. I just have a belief that I have to wash my hand 100 times. That's the context in which it was developed. I think it works for all kinds of dynamics.
Relabeling involves identifying and redefining limiting beliefs, such as recognizing that the need to work for validation is a belief rather than a necessity. Reattributing then helps individuals understand the origins of these beliefs, allowing them to see that negative self-perceptions, like "I am not worth it," may stem from external influences rather than reflecting reality.
And then so I've relabeled it. I don't have to work to feel a sense of validation, but I have a belief that I do.
That's right.
And then I reattribute it, which is the second R, which means I get clear on where it's come from.
Yeah. So let's say you have the belief that you're not worth it. It's not true that I'm not worth it. I just have a belief that I'm not worth it. Okay? Or it may not be true that I'm not worth it, but I do have a belief that I'm not worth it. Attribute means this is an old brain circuit sending me an old message. It's got nothing to do with reality. It has to do with some experience that I had a long time ago. That's the reattribute. You just say, well, where's it actually coming from? There's a circuit in your brain that's wired with the message, you're not worth it. And it's going to keep repeating that message. Well, you say, okay, that's where it's coming from.
Until I refocus, which is the third R.
Yeah. So refocus is just to give yourself some space. So if you ever say, I need to go to work, okay, refocus means, well, for 5 minutes, maybe in 5 minutes I'll go to work, but for 5 minutes I won't. I'm going to put on some piece of music or go for a walk or meditate or whatever. So you refocus, you put the intention somewhere else. Just so that, to prove to yourself that you actually have some agency over your brain. If only for 5 minutes. If you have this belief that I'm not worth it, well, you can go back to it in 5 minutes if you want. Just for 5 minutes though, consider all the ways that you made a contribution. Consider all the ways that people have acknowledged your benign presence in their lives. The times that people told you that they've loved you or that you told somebody else. Just for 5 minutes, hang out with that. 5 minutes later, if you want to go back to this belief that, or if you can't help going back to this belief that you're not worth it, well, that's okay. But at least create some space. It's all about creating space between yourself and these beliefs or these behaviors.
Refocusing encourages individuals to shift their attention away from limiting beliefs, allowing for healthier coping mechanisms like music, walking, or meditation.
And in that 5 minutes, you're basically accepting new evidence to be true, or you're proving that other evidence is true. I didn't need to go and work.
Well, you're also proving that you don't have to spend all your time subjected to those beliefs. You can take a hiatus from it, at least for a while.
And that they are not you.
They're not you, yeah.
And then revalue.
Reevaluate really what it should mean, or maybe more accurately, devalue, because you say, what has been the actual value? This belief that I'm not worth it. What has been the actual value of it in my life? Or this tendency of mine to be a workaholic. What has been the actual value? Oh, it made me tired. It made me alienated. Or it keeps me depressed. Or it keeps me hopelessly trying to prove something which I can never prove to myself anyway through external activity. So you actually look at what has been its actual impact on your life. What has been its real value.
Sometimes the value is positive though, right? Like I think about my own workaholism, if that's the term. I think, there's some positives here.
Yeah.
A lot of negatives.
Yeah. Well, is the positive due to workaholism, or is it due to your capacity to work hard on behalf of a goal? They're not the same. Mm-hmm. Your capacity to work hard to achieve a certain goal is simply a gift that you have, and something that maybe takes some discipline and application on your part. That's not workaholism. That's just a strong, positive work ethic. The workaholism is when you're driven to work, you actually don't need to.
It's funny because it reminds me of an analogy I've been talking about in the last couple of episodes of this podcast, the distinction between being driven and being dragged.
Yeah.
It's like, which side of the lorry am I flying down the motorway? Am I tied to the front and am I running and pulling the lorry? Or am I just like my ankles attached to the back of the lorry as it flies down the motorway because I'm being dragged?
But if I may, I would say that neither of those are particularly desirable. But it's the distinction that I made before between being driven and being called.
Yeah.
Because if you're called, if I call you, say, Stephen, would you come and have dinner with me? You can say yes, you can say no. I just gave you a call, and you can say, literally, I'm talking about a call now, telephone call. You can say yes, you can say no.
There's a decision there.
But you're the one who's making the decision.
Yeah.
When you're dragged or pushed or pulled, you're not making the decision.
I'm a slave to the decision.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome back. In this interview from Diary of a CEO with Gabor Maté, they explain and discuss the fear and feeling of not being good enough. It's not a personal flaw, it's a wound. It's a survival adaptation born from early environments where love, safety, and attention was conditional. As children, we internalize the rejection, chaos, or emotional absence around us as something inherently wrong with us. Reparenting advises to gently untangle it. It teaches us to hold that wounded child inside with compassion, to stop asking what's wrong with me, and start asking what happened to me. Through this lens, our sense of unworthiness isn't the truth. It's a scar that we now have the power to tend to. Reparenting means becoming the parent we never had, one who sees us as already worthy regardless of achievement, behavior, or approval from others. It's a radical act of saying to yourself, you are enough, even when you feel broken. When we validate our younger selves, when we soothe the part of us that's still chasing words of perfectionism, people-pleasing, or self-criticism, we begin to rebuild trust within ourselves. This healing journey allows us to step out of survival mode and into truth. We are lovable just as we are. From that place, wholeness becomes possible. Not through fixing ourselves, but through finally welcoming ourselves home. As we go into the journal prompts today, number 1, what were the moments in childhood where I first started to believe I wasn't good enough? And how did I try to compensate for that belief? Number 2, if I could go back and tell my younger self one thing about their worth, what would it be? And how can I live by that message today? And number 3, what parts of myself do I still withhold love from because I believe they aren't good enough? What would it look like to accept those parts unconditionally? That's it for today. As always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself, and please do be well. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please go ahead and find a space where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for this 10-minute silent meditation. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you comfortable today. Take a moment to simply be with yourself. Focus on your breath and gently connect with each part of your body. If thoughts arise, don't let them overwhelm you. Just observe them without attachment. Imagine them as leaves drifting down atop a river, passing by without needing your engagement. Stay present, grounded, and open to this moment, no matter what time you are listening and practicing this meditation. Namaste.